Hello, all you beautiful people. Thank you for watching today. Yes, it is Thursday and we are doing our video for today. Yes, I do have new glasses. We'll get to the bifocal discussion later on in this little video. But first I want to talk to you about the top 5 things that you should look into when you are hiring a wedding planner. Yes, it's t-shirt day around here, and if you see, it's handled, my Olivia Pope shirt. And for any of those people who don't know that I like wording on t-shirts, most specifically anything that's sarcastic or potentially will just give somebody like, this is what's happening in our world. It's been a little bit of an interesting week. We had quite a few postponements that dealt with they were in the spring, now we're in the fall, now they're moving to next year. So at certain points, we'll tell you sometimes event planners can get a little bit, just a lot going on. And I know that God only gives you what you can handle. I get all that, and thank goodness it's Thursday, because tomorrow, I'm not sure what tomorrow will prove to hold for us. So anyway, gotta talk about some good things, what you should be looking for when you hire an event planner. Obviously, there are many things that you need to do. For me, what is most important right now is, quite frankly, personality. If you do not like the person that you are working with, then they are not worth working with. They need to understand what you're looking for. And if they're going to tell you about all the amazing events that they do and all the wonderful things that they do and anything that they can do for you, it is something that I really probably would stay away from, because what you need to know, or what they need to know, is what you want. And you want them to ask you, what are you looking for? More often than not, brides are saying things like, I don't know what I want. I haven't figured it out yet. So a good planner will dig that right out of you. They're going to ask you very in-depth questions, not yes or no answers. And you want to make sure that you have people like that are in your corner. Now, are they listening to you? Are they allowing you to talk? Are they allowing you to be yourself and take your event and make it be the best event that it can be for what you and your fiance are expecting? Because quite frankly, if we did the same event over and over again, we all might go a smidge crazy. So we are event planners for a reason. We like to be creative. We like to pull things out and do the non-traditional things when we're allowed to. So you need to be able to communicate with them extremely effectively so that when I say so that, you get what you're looking for. Super important. The next thing I find actually incredibly important is organization. And when I say organization, everybody has their own ways of organizing things, and that kind of makes me giggle. I mean, sometimes I walk into people's homes and I'm like, ooh, okay, I probably wouldn't have done that. But when we're talking about weddings specifically, is there a visible plan for the scope of your event? Are they going to explain to you what is happening each day? It is not a very wise decision to go, talk to a florist when you haven't even selected a wedding gown yet. If you honestly are sitting there going, oh, I'm going to hire my florist, I'm going to hire my photographer, and you don't even have a venue yet. No, there is a plan that you need to focus on. Now, does this mean that they're the crazy event planner that's walking around with a board screaming, clipboard screaming? That's not it at all. Not at all. You truly just want to make sure that they say, hey, this month we're going to be working on this. Weddings can get nutty. They can, especially with your friends. And when friends are like, did you hire your florist, your photographer, your videographer? Did you hire your hairstylist yet, your makeup person? It all has to be done by tomorrow. And the bride is like, what? There's no way I can get all that stuff done. Okay, sorry, gray hair sticking out. It's getting worse and worse and worse. But anyway, you don't have to do that. The planner should be providing you status updates, right? This is where we are. This is what you have not made a decision on. And then provide you guidance on the best way to do it. My dad always has said, indecision is a decision. And that's what a good planner will be able to figure out and say, gosh, why haven't they decided on a venue? Well, perhaps they haven't found the one that they like yet, but they're not sure how to articulate that. So the planner needs to pull that information out of you. In one sense, we do kind of say it's like babysitting, right? I got to figure out what is in your brain so that we can make sure that you get the event that you're looking for. That's really what has to happen. So next one is connections. This is one thing that when I say I chuckle about, it's event planners, what product do we have? Our knowledge. And then we also have our relationships of the relationships that we have cultivated with vendors. If a wedding planner says, "Oh, I make sure I get you 50% off every vendor you go to," I would stay clear of that. I would ask how they're getting that deposit, or how they're getting that discount. If that discount means that photographer, for example, is raising their price 50% so that they can then deduct 50% off, that's not going to help anybody, right? So make sure that those relationships are worth it, and how are you going to find that out? Well, there are some vendors that say, I only work with one person. Some planners say, I only work with one florist. Well, we all have our A teams, which I affectionately call it that. The team that when you put it together, they're vendors that you like to work with, not only for their personality, but they provide the best value for their dollar, not the cheapest, saying the best value for the dollar. But there are other things that brides will be like, I don't like that photographer, or I don't like that florist. Well, we have to be ready to pivot and find you one that you do like. That's what's extremely important here. If I say, no, can't work with that person because I can't. That's not how it works. Planners should be looking out for what is the best interest of their client, not necessarily what's in the best interest of themselves. Now, they can sit there, I will tell you, it's insanely important. They can provide information to you like, okay, that person never shows up at a wedding. It's not gossiping, just saying. They can provide you a very real experience. One great thing that I actually like about wedding planners is when we, send out messages to each other like, hey, haven't worked with this person. Does anybody have any information on them? You'd be amazed at what you find out. Keyboards start going and people are like, they either say like, stay away, probably would pursue other avenues, something like that. That's okay. That's really not bashing anybody. They're just saying probably did not have the best experience with them, and this is why. So again, we're looking for the best value for your dollar. Not again, but that's one thing, and that's what connections can do for you. Most importantly, and this obviously is why I'm sitting here thinking about, and why I'm wearing my It's Handled shirt, is, right now our week was consumed with rescheduling fall events. And that, if a bride was going to do that on her own, and I actually should ask my bride, the one that I actually was working on today, the one that I was rescheduling, how she felt. We had a Zoom call last night, made the decision to not get married on September 5th of this year. She's pushing it to September 4th of next year. And by 1 o'clock today, we had all the contracts canceled, revised, contracts then sent over to the bride, and then she has had everything back to the vendor by 4 p.m. today. So between 6 p.m. last night and 4 p.m. today, everything has been wrapped up, changed, and whatnot. Is that a good or bad thing? Well, it was a tough decision for her to make with where things are going, but yet I feel like she handled it, took care of us, or I'm saying took care of her. We took care of her, but she also took care of us by saying, I'll let you handle this. And we sat down and hammered that information out. So, connections, they help a ton. Okay, my favorite one when it comes to it, what event planners can do is troubleshooting. So people say, oh, when you hire your wedding planner, make sure you talk to other brides. You can, but I would actually talk to the vendors, because one thing that we are extremely proficient in is if there is something going wrong, not letting the bride know about it. Right? So every bride is like, oh my God, everything's fantastic. And sure, it is. Ask the vendors, right? Say, can I have some references from vendors that you've worked with? Because vendors will be like, oh, hey, yeah, you might pursue different avenues there, right? They might say that, they might not. But vendors work with them more than just one time. And brides, we love them. They are in an eternal state of bliss. We just love them completely. But I am telling you, they're probably not going to be aware of what is actually happening. And truthfully, the most important thing is to make it look like you threw a flawless event. Regardless, that's what your job is. But ask vendors. That's the cool people to ask. Okay, then my last one is the number of jobs that they do. And what I love about this is I am capable of, being an event planner, being an organizer, being a designer. I can take pictures. I can put flowers together. I mean, these are all things I've had to do on the fly at an event. Would I call myself at all a florist or a photographer? Hell no, I would not. Are you kidding? No, not my deal. However, have I had to make a corsage at the last minute? For sure. So when I find that somebody says I am a DJ and an event planner, I'm like, okay, how are you going to do two things at once? Now, there are some pretty amazing people that can do 25 things at one time insanely well. I've only met none of them, but I'm sure they do exist. Instead, at your event, you want your team put together that is the best of the best, and that they are honing in on their one perfection item, and that they are doing that perfectly well. That's what you need to look for. It is, I just always say, jack of all trades, master of none. Years ago, there was a phrase, the phrase has always been around, but I heard it years ago, and it was, the sweet smell of a discount will not outweigh the disappointment in the end. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fantastic. Yes, that's true. So whenever people say I'm totally looking for price conscious things, I'm like, okay, we don't want to waste money, because if we're going to waste money, we're just going to give it back. Just give it to me. I'll go spend it. We want to spend money wisely. And so if you say, oh, I'm only going to spend $150 on a DJ and hope for the best, well, no, I need to provide you education. Your planner needs to say, no, that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to get Kenny, who does all the kegers on the campus, to come out and play at your wedding. That is not what you're going to be happy with. So therefore, we're going to have to navigate you and educate you and provide you with different information so that you can have somebody that actually knows what they're doing. The word professionalism does get tossed around a little bit too loosely. They're like, I'm professional, I got a business license. I'm like, Anyway, okay, so that's it. Those are my top 5 things that I think that you should look at when you're hiring an event planner. Obviously, there are a ton of them, but yeah, there are a ton of them. I have to tell you, best thing I did this week, I sat in on, and for anybody who gets totally offended by language, I am just relaying what I heard this week, so you can cover up your ears. Little children are hearing, just let me know. Probably should be doing a disclaimer. But I sat in on a webinar this week, because we all know that that's what I do. Not sit on. And Braden Drake is an attorney out of California. Amber Anderson with Heavenly Day Events put this webinar together. And Get Your Legal Shit Legit. That was the name of the title. And I was like, he might be my soul sister. Anyway, as he started talking, he went through contracts, and it was cool because we had Google Docs, and he was letting everybody upload their contracts, and he was helping you add clauses and delete clauses, and most specifically addressing the force majeure along with the pandemic, right? And what you just can't have act of God, civil military service anymore. You got to put the word pandemic in so that you can effectively put your business together with your contract. And so, all these fantastic things that we sit down and listen to. He does a podcast, and it's called Unfuck Your Biz with Braden. Honestly, I listened to the podcast this morning and really started laughing. I was like, he's so right, but he is extremely knowledgeable. So if you want to I got to look at his email address. He's got heygirl@yourlegalgbf.com is what he will send you information. He's got a group that he starts. But if you honestly want to look at contracts and how you probably should have a pandemic clause, that would be great. And it's something that we find that with event planners, actually all of the wedding industry, that their contracts are, so we have learned during this pandemic, are a bit much. Like, not a bit much, right? There's not enough information that covers, and that's why we're all in the predicament that we are. And so let's learn something, and let's do something a little bit different. Okay, other new things that happened this week. I got bifocals. I got 2 pairs. I'm telling you, you might be tripping if you have not had bifocals. Do not make fun of people that walk and fall because the floor starts moving. It's hilarious. I'm saying that it's sort of hilarious, but anyway, it's not really that funny. But yes, I'm old enough to have bifocals, so that was kind of my funny thing. In addition to that, I now have a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. So we have survived those 2 activities, which were pretty fantastic. And I also have a new great nephew. Little Austin was born. He's in Massachusetts, and I cannot wait to see him. The other amazing thing we did this week was a virtual cake tasting. So, Amy, how did we do a virtual cake tasting? Well, the event planner got in her car, drove around to 4 different bakeries, picked up the cakes, then delivered them to the front door of the bride and said, hey, this is where your cakes are. She came out and got them. I went home, got on Zoom, walked them through an entire cake tasting, and they selected a baker that way. So for everybody who says, yeah, this sucks, this, we got to do all this stuff, we have to pivot, and I hate that word. You do. But now I understand that, yes, you can do a virtual cake tasting. Absolutely can happen. And it was really nice, I'm going to tell you, to spend 2 hours, actually it was like almost 3 hours driving around the city of Austin where no other cars were. So that was kind of fun. Okay, refer to our blog this week. I'm going to be working on that tomorrow. That's at myplatinumevent.com. Follow us on social media if you need something. For everybody, be kind, be awesome, and do the right thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. And if I don't even press the off button, it's because I can't see with my bifocals on. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.